Good morning, everyone. Welcome. My name is Menachem Creditor. It's my honor to serve as scholar in residence and rabbi for UJA Federation of New York. We bring you Torah and music, blessing, and community every weekday. We have been doing so since March 18th, 2020. Today it is May 11th, 2026. It's a lot of Torah every single weekday morning, so we could say good morning to each other. Leslie, good morning. Bensi, Karen, Deborah, Jonathan, good to see you. Hope everyone is doing well. You had a good Shabbat, a good weekend, a good Mother's Day. Linda, nice to see you, kind soul. Let's take a second. We'll see who else is here on Facebook, and then we'll get started with a bracha and some learning. Andy, nice to see you. Yoram, nice to see you too. Lydia and Penny, Boker Tov. Thanks, Penny. It's broadcast 1545. Kate, nice to see you. Rita and George, Cecile and Barry. Good morning, friends. All right, let's take a breath. Rosa, nice to see you. Patricia and Marcia, Dale, Jack, nice to see you. Here we go. Good morning, everybody. Hope that you're all doing well. We are beginning a new book of the Torah this week. It's Parshat Bamidbar, which begins the book of Bamidbar, the book of Numbers. It's interesting to note that the Hebrew name for the books of the Torah is different than the English name for the books of the Torah. That happens often because non-Jewish scholars, often Christian scholars, end up naming the books that become vernacular. That's the way people refer to them, especially the King James version of the Bible. So living in translation is its own complication. We should know that the Hebrew name of the book of Numbers is not actually Numbers. Bamidbar doesn't mean that. Bamidbar means in the desert or in the wilderness of. And how we see the desert, and that's going to be our topic today, how we see the desert is deeply important. In fact, if you look at different ways that the prophets and the Hebrew Bible itself looks at the notion of the desert, you will find discrepancies based on who's doing the speaking. And that tells you the difference between history, what happens, and historiography, how we talk about what happened. History, you might say, is the facts. But historiography, which is much more common, is actually an interpretation of those facts. So, Bamidbar, how do we translate it? Well, how does it sound to your ear to hear the word desert versus how you hear the word wilderness? The way we interpret the Midbar is deeply important. After all, as the mystics say, the Midbar, just change the vowels under the Hebrew letters, the Midbar is Midaber. The desert speaks, the wilderness speaks. And again, the difference between desert and wilderness. Beautiful verses about this you find in the Machzor, the High Holidays prayer book. This comes from the prophets. There's a phrase, Zacharti lach, Chesed ne'uraich. I remember your young love, our young love, says God through the prophet to the people. Lechtech acharai b'midbar, be'eretz lo zeruah. When you walked after me through the midbar, through a land that had not been planted yet, which means it's a honeymoon. It's a new place. It's like walking into the most perfect scene with the most perfect partner. It's love, it's joy, it's the first blush of infatuation. That's the experience of the Midbar according to that prophet. But if you listen to other voices in the Tanakh itself, same level of time, as it were, same part of the Jewish canon, even if the Tanakh was written over many periods of time, we see the voices within it as authoritative. In the book of Psalms, and we sing this Friday night, Arba'im Shana Akut Bedor, for 40 years, the 40 years in the desert, I wrestled with that nation, with my own people, says God through the book of Psalms. And I said to myself, they're never going to make it. All we do is argue. And so, which is it? Which understanding of Midbar should it be? Should it be a place where potential is unlimited, where love is in full bloom? Should it be understood as a place of wilderness, of chaos, of bickering, of anger? Well, if you've been through any time, by which I mean any time, and you've been in a real relationship, between two real partners, and that can be between spouses, it can be with children, with parents, with siblings, with friends. You know that no relationship only contains the good stuff, the blush of love, the infatuation, the complete acceptance and understanding, walking into the perfect scene and know that everything is just right. That's not how life always is. Life is not always the best parts. There are also times where there are arguments and discrepancies in understanding, sometimes where we make very big mistakes, or small ones that feel very big. And in our story as a people, as we go through the 40 years in the desert, we do not only have Sinai. We don't only have the splitting of the Red Sea. In this book, the book of Bamidbar, we have 7 rebellions against the authority of God and God's representatives. And that tells you something very real about who we are as a people. We are entering in this Sefer, in this book of the Torah, into a period of time where there are real disagreements, where it doesn't only go well. It's not only the best parts of the story. And I want to point out that there's something very important about that too. The fact that the desert, that the wilderness, that the honeymoon, that the bickering happens and that it is part of our Torah means that Torah wants us to understand that relationships with bumps can still be sacred. The holiness of real relationships is the exploration of the book of Bamidbar. And to quote one of the most wonderful voices that we have today in the Jewish world, Tal Becker, who is one of the vice presidents at the Shalom Hartman Institute in Israel. He has this beautiful, beautiful phrase. I've heard him use it many times. Because everything is uncertain, anything is possible. That's the best way to understand Midbar. We are entering into a place where the answers are not given. The outcomes are not predetermined. We're in a real relationship. Some of us might use the word God to describe that. Some of us might use the word universe or time or world. But what we must know is that in no way are we powerless here. The fact that nothing is determined means we have great influence through our actions, our words, our attitudes. We can make decisions about how to be in relationship, to make this midbar midaber, to make this new uncharted territory a place of words, of speech, of creativity. We know that words in the notion of the Torah is how all of existence comes into being. So I invite us to think as we begin this book of the Torah, what words will we choose? Do we allow the uncertainty in our relationship with the world, with the universe? Do we allow it to go unanswered? There is a time for quiet. and there is a time for constructive speech. This is our moment to re-enter with our words, to re-enter into a relationship with ourselves, with our families, with our neighbors, with our communities, with our society, and with the world. There is no question that there's a lot of uncertainty right now. And so Bamidbar asks us to take that very seriously and to quote Tal Becker one more time as the final word on this question, facing the uncertainty. Because everything is uncertain, anything is possible. Amen. Let's send our hearts to the east and sing, friends. Kol od balevav pnima nefesh Yehudi homia ulefate mizrach kadima ayin letzion tzofia od lo avda tikvateinu התקווה בת שנות 2000 להיות עם חופשי בארצנו ארץ ציון וירושלים להיות עם חופשי בארצנו ארץ ציון וירושלים. Am Yisrael Chai. See you tomorrow, my friends.